Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joines, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. Tate, my man, we have our first two state champions for the 2020-21 school year.
That's right. And they are both, well, one is back-to-back, one is back-to-back. Yeah, hey, but we, it wasn't as climactic, because I think there was no doubt in anyone's mind that both of them were winning. And then you let me tag along with you on Wednesday, and after watching both of them play, I knew then they might as well go ahead and wrap that trophy up. One's going to Nolensville, one's going to Brentwood. This is done.
And not that, Coach Young doing a great job there at Nolensville. Not that he didn't have them ready, because he did. But the Crockett County, it looked like the Nolensville was about half board.
Yeah.
And they were still dominating.
And as a coach, I remember you said you observed that there was a little lull there where it looked like they got a little sloppy compared to where they were before. And experienced team, a guy who's been through it, and an experienced coach. He didn't lose his mind. He didn't call timeout, make sure everybody in the gym knew he was the head coach. He just coached them up a little bit and would bring them to the side, and they worked through it and tightened it back up, and it was over about 30 minutes later, right?
Is
that something you learn as a head coach, or is that something that's just in you?
I think some of that's personality. Some of it I guess you do learn, but I think some of it is personality of let that ride. Bobby Knight, who obviously was pretty excitable.
Yes.
He was notorious for not calling timeouts late in the game. Let the players go with what they already knew and go with it, especially late game situations for like a last-second shot. Other team scores, let it go.
Yep.
Which you would think is the opposite of what he would do.
Correct.
So some of it's learned, some of it's personality, some probably what you can stomach. Hey, speaking of Coach Young in Nolensville, 38-4 for the season. They were perfect in AA. And here's their run in the state tournament. Signal Mountain, 3-0. Crockett County, 3-0. Anderson County, 3-0. Anderson County again, 3-1. They give up the third set, 25-20. That final was 25-19, 25-15, 20-25, and then 25-20. There really was no doubt.
No.
What a season.
Fun to watch too, man. Exciting. Really fun. Back-to-back, man. A school that's been there, 5 years? Has it been 5 years? 4 years. 5 years, yeah. So it's hard to believe, man. That's big time, and I don't think they're slowing down anytime soon. The Fab Five.
That's right.
Pretty strong.
Lauren Starkey, senior, MVP. Charlie Fulton, senior. Cayman Ladd, senior. Jasmine Jenkins, senior. Avery Patton, senior. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. I think it was Starkey that I read her quote. She said, "We consider ourselves the Fab Five," which I thought was pretty cool.
I love it. I think it was awesome. She was tournament MVP.
Yep.
Charlie Fulton, man, wow.
Kind of the alpha dog of the team, you said.
If I'm Coach Derrick, I'm seeing if she wants to come out for the playoff run of the football team. She is intense, and, man, she is powerful, like explosive. When that ball comes off on her spikes, it's get out of the way, man. So very fun to watch. They're all fun to watch, man. It was really cool.
In the other final, Brentwood High School, again, 8th straight state championship, 16th overall. And it was the return of Coach Campbell. I'm going to tell you, Tate, it was awesome. It was like Willis Reed in the Garden back in the day, Larry Bird against the Indiana Pacers in the Boston Garden, coming back out at halftime. Coach Campbell slides in the side door. And I give credit to assistant coaches Angie Noble and Kathy Cram, who did a great job, by the way. They coached 10 matches without Coach Campbell. They kind of had it planned. She slides in the side door. The Brentwood players see her. They just go on to dominate the first set, 25-7, and then rolled from there. And Captain Mathews, this is a first, I think.
It's a first.
A first-time boat race.
Well,
on the show.
No disrespect to Siegel
for volleyball,
because clearly the number 2 team in the state. They were unbelievable, but they ran into the Showtime Lakers, the '83 Celtics or '84 Celtics. I mean, it was a boat race, and here's why: in volleyball. How do you determine a boat race? The finals of AAA took 63 minutes. If you had stopped off at Toots to get some chicken tenders before, you'd have missed it, Coach Joins. It was an absolute boat race.
39 points total for Siegel. 25-7, 25-18, 25-14. And what I liked about it, and look, I understand TSSAA, they had to do what they had to do. Have it at Siegel. Siegel's playing a home match.
Home match.
And Brentwood had lost to Siegel earlier in a five sets, not best out of 3, but 5-set home match.
Yeah.
Siegel beat them, 15 games ago maybe? But you could just tell in that championship, it's go time, it's Brentwood time, death, taxes, Brentwood volleyball.
Well, Barbara Campbell. Qualls tweeted that. Barbara Campbell.
He added her on it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Trying to steal my thunder, isn't he?
He did. You know, it was so cool. They had the crown sitting in the chair, and then she got there and sat in the chair. Instead of a crown, they should have put the boat captain hat up there because it was 40-foot Donzi, a pair of 225s on the back, had that thing trimmed up, and they were rolling down the river.
38-3 for the season, by the way. And they played a period of time now without Eggleston and some others. But she has in the final 21 kills, 7 digs, and here you go, 2,200 career kills. My shoulder's hurting thinking about it because she absolutely, you've said it, put the gun on her. There's no telling what she's bringing with those kills.
It's got to be 70 miles an hour.
Got to be.
And then, you know, we talked about it. We went and saw them play Cookeville, or I went and saw them play Cookeville with you. And Mary Oldham, man, like, I don't know what that, you know, they
She
bump
comes
it,
in from the side,
they set
too.
it, and she comes around. It reminded me of Jean-Claude Van Damme in Bloodsport, man. And she gets that wind-up kill. Get out of the way, boys.
Not to be confused with Chuck Norris or Steven Seagal.
No, Steven Seagal was a keto.
Okay.
A keto, yeah. Chuck Norris, I believe, was kung fu, whatever.
I feel like that's a Mathews morsel.
It is.
You know when that
Tate's taught.
Stigall is a keto.
Seagal.
What did I say, Stigall? Oh, well.
Yeah.
Did I say Seagal?
Might I digress?
Did I?
You did the second time. I don't
The
know
first
about
time did I say? Meant to check that, Mr. Producer.
You young people that don't know what blood sport is, look it up. Jean-Claude Van Damme. That's old. Wham! They're getting out of the way. People are taking cover. It was awesome.
Speaking of Mary Oldham, her and sister Zoe both had 7 kills in the final. Diggs, 8 for Sophie Froelich and Meredith Moody, 7 for Dylan Salser and Taylor Sanders. Also, Salser, 22 assists. Again, I think we take it for granted in a lot of ways. And I'm telling you, that's not easy doing it without Coach Campbell during that stretch. Now, again, she was there for the final. Obviously, it was a little bit different because she had missed so many. But it goes to show you what a strong program it is. And I'll say this, anything that's going well, you've got to look at the person in charge. Coach Campbell's done a great job, and I think she put the team and those coaches, Coach Noble and Coach Cram, in a situation where they could be successful in her absence.
I think so too. And I was going to say, I thought it was very cool of them too. You know, it would be easy to human nature, right? Oh, well, we're the ones who have been guiding them through here, you know. We're not getting the limelight. No, they're the ones who set it up, orchestrated it. They wanted Coach Campbell on that bench. And so I don't think you can say enough good things about the job Angie Noble and Kathy Cram did. Really cool, man.
Speaking of chances to win state titles, let's talk soccer a little bit. Page High School, they come back and defeat Central Magnet in the finals of the region. They avenged that district championship loss, but they did fall short in the sectional, 1-0 to Hume Fall. Congratulations to Coach Clapp. Great year. Ravenwood and Franklin, both still alive. Ravenwood defeats Franklin 2-0 in the region championship. And then what happens? Ravenwood absolutely dominates. I mean, 4-0. Maybe needs to be about 6 or 7, doesn't it?
Yeah. Maybe like Top Gun or something. You know?
Franklin.
Viper.
Franklin, Iceman. Franklin 4-1 at Hendersonville. In that Ravenwood game, again now, Ravenwood, this is their third straight trip to the state tournament. Coach Mancini, Jessica Mancini, in her first year. She has been there 4 years at the school, though. She was talking about those seniors and what an impact they've had, so I know that's a special group to her. Looking for a repeat because obviously they won it last year with that big win over Brentwood. Goals in that game, Abigail Dibble with 2, Josie Ricketts with 1, Sarah Kate Roth with 1. 4-0 over our friends in Gallatin.
Hope you enjoyed that.
The shout out or the match or both?
No, just our friend in Gallatin, Mr. Summercamp, Captain Positivity. I'm sure you had fun with that. Hey, Ravenwood, that's awesome, man. Got a chance to get back to back. Now, do we know, can they meet in the finals?
They can. So here's the interesting thing. I'm glad you mentioned the bracket. Franklin probably has the tougher draw first round versus Collierville. Ravenwood has Maryville, which is a little bit easier opponent. Ravenwood is in the same bracket with Houston. That's the favorite.
That's okay.
But they were favored last year, by the way, and Ravenwood absolutely dominated them in the semis.
That's right.
So they're in with the shot, both teams. Congratulations to Coach Burgoyne of Franklin. Again, 4-1 win. It was 1-1 at the half. They're on the road at, hey, that's a state power too, Hendersonville.
No doubt.
That's a good team. But the second half, they get 3 goals, 2 from Avery Brown, 1 for Emma Shields, and then Megan Robleski had 1 there in the first half. And, you know, something that was interesting, they were talking to, I believe it was Anna DeFranco of Franklin. It was either her or maybe Sister Megan. But they're talking in that particular, or talking about the season, how they didn't really have a chance to practice. Soccer just kind of started.
Right.
I mean, they practiced some, but not like they would have been doing. And so they mentioned what a challenge that was. They'd missed some games. And I give Coach Burgoyne credit. He's a guy that doesn't schedule a lot of regular season games because so many of those girls play travel soccer. He gets it. He's like, I know they're doing that anyway. They play all the time. Let's just schedule a few outside the league and make sure they're tough matchups. I've talked to him about that. And he
Save their legs.
I'm telling you, he's an easy guy to root for.
That's pretty sharp.
Yeah. He's really neat. I know I enjoyed my time working with him at Franklin, and he is a total school person. He wants to see players play all they want to play. He comes out and supports the other teams, just does a great job.
Well, and the cool thing I love about this too is this is why the rule was put in place for the people that are for it. But like you mentioned at the beginning, got put out in the district tournament, but because they were regular season champions, they moved on, and that's what you see there. Who knows how many times through the years, the best team, which right now, they were the best team in the region, didn't get a chance because of that. So this rule, that is what this rule was about when they put it into place. Whether you're for it or against it, and they got a chance to win a state championship. I was hoping, I wonder if it was Maryville or Bearden that put them out. I was hoping Farragut would make it, and then we'd have the Lady Admirals versus the Lady Admirals.
Wow, that would have been...
That would have been pretty cool.
Always thinking.
Always thinking.
Let's talk some football now.
We got a lot to talk about.
Recaps. Let's talk Brentwood Independence, really the game of the week because of region implications. This game was rescheduled from October the 2nd. We have a little weather situation on Friday. They chose not to wait it out because they were going to start so late. They come back and play Saturday. And then what happens? Independence comes up with a big 26-21 win. Independence, 4-0. They're in the driver's seat for the region championship. They host Ravenwood this week. A win means region championship. And you know, early in the year, you and I talked about it. Don't sleep on Indy.
Don't sleep on them. They're better than what a lot of people thought they were at the beginning of the year, and then really, really playing well. But what a big win. What a huge win, you know. And so now they control their destiny, and they can be region champions with a win against Ravenwood. Might still be, I'm not sure. We need to dig into that. But here's the bottom line, man. Nobody outside of Scott Blade, maybe Dash 2 Sports, picked the Eagles to win this region. I didn't. I thought they were going to be really good, but I didn't pick them to win this region. What a big win. And here's the thing that I thought was cool. And then they had only played one time in 28 days. That's what worried me. They had played Dickson. That was the only time they had played in 28 days. Then we got bumped back another day. So this was only their second game in 29 days against Brentwood, man. And they played really sharp. And, you know, we got so many great quarterbacks and players in this county, man. But Jackson Campbell is a freaking winner, man.
No doubt. 215 passing yards, 70 rushing. He was involved in 3 of the touchdowns. And here's the thing that's, I guess all 3 of the touchdowns. I said 3 of there were 3.
Yeah, he threw 1 and ran for 2.
The thing about, you were talking about not playing. I feel like Coach Blade's demeanor is ideal for that. I bet he goes California cool and, hey, we'll play if we can. If we can't play, we won't. I guarantee you he handles that well.
He does. And what's cool about it is if you watch him on the sideline too, because he's kind of a no-nonsense guy, but he's not he's a very steady guy. You never see him getting.
He doesn't rant and rave.
He does not rant and rave. Now, he tells you what he wants and he expects it to be done. And if there's not, there's consequences, But he's not a screamer, a yeller, or throw his visor. You know what I'm saying? And you're right. He is very, and it sounds like that's how his team played. There were some times when they weren't playing that great, go in at halftime, and I don't think there was a big, screaming and yelling halftime speech. It was hey, if we'll just do this, this, and this, if we'll just execute, it's there. And then they come out and I think scored on the next 3 drives, I believe.
That's correct. So it's 7-6 at the half. Brentwood gets the ball. The Indy defense, which I've been saying it for 2 years, they seem to make plays when it matters. I think they're underappreciated. They sack Granzow, end up having to punt. The punt was kind of offline, like does happen sometimes. They take the ball over on the 29-yard line of Brentwood. 3 plays later, Jackson Campbell to Ty Lockwood. And then from there, they score again. They score again. That offense got rolling. But really, it got started with that sack of Granzow. They really did. So I say shout out to the Indy defense because they came up big in that game.
And Coach Blade mentioned them very early on in that article, And if you go back and remember what he said, they made wholesale changes. They after the first game against Summit, he was not happy with the way they performed defensively. Now, Destin White had a lot to do with that, but still, and ever since then, whatever the changes they were, they played really well on defense. And so, I don't know, man. Maybe people shouldn't be surprised by this. And I've told people this. I don't know anything, but I know what good looks like. If I had a quarterback that was a running quarterback, now you got to remember, Jackson, this is his first year playing quarterback. Any coach that's got a running quarterback that isn't really sure what to do with them, that doesn't ask Coach Blade in the offseason, can I come down and pick your brain? That's almost like a criminal act in my book. Because that dude knows how to coach some quarterbacks.
He does. He really does. Hey, give credit to Brentwood, too, down 26-7. They get a couple late scores, 43-yard touchdown pass to Aaron Walton, then another to Walker Merrill, but then they couldn't get the ball back. I think that was like 3:12 remaining. Independence, never give the ball back, because if they did, who knows? But, man, what a game. What a game.
Yeah. And how about this? We're going to go on, but that other region now, somebody's going to finish number 2 and get Brentwood, Ravenwood, or Indy. God, I don't think it'll be Indy. They're going to get Brentwood or Ravenwood, right?
Now, we'll talk about that in a minute.
All right, let's go.
I did my research on that.
I like it.
Hey,
and I should know, I will know next week, those 2 field goals in the first half by the Independence place kicker. As the game goes on, you sometimes forget about those. You take either one of those away, they don't win. Big.
No doubt about it. Fairview 35, Dickson 14, as we expected. 3A Fairview takes care of Dickson County at Dickson. A couple of rushing touchdowns for Jacob Clevenger. He also had 2 sacks and 8 tackles for the Yellow Jackets. Riley Bennett gets better every game. 115 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 to Bryce Fannin, 1 to Kason Edmondson, also Brody Cox with a rushing touchdown. Fairview just keeps getting better. Big game this week with Stewart County that will determine the region champion.
Yeah, and it's the first time in a while that it hasn't already been wrapped up for Fairview. So I think they're excited about that. A region championship game, Stewart County's undefeated. So I don't think it matters. But here are 2 things that I thought, and then we'll move on. I thought this was awesome. Bryce Fannin had a touchdown and an interception. The guy's always around the ball, always. And then they scored 35 points. I think I read it right. Nardozzi touched the ball 4 times. 4 times, and they scored 35 points on them.
I'm telling you, this could be the year.
That could have been bad.
This could be the year they really take it deep.
I'm really excited about this Stewart County game.
I am too. Can't wait to make our predictions here in a minute.
Yeah.
Nolensville 14, Tullahoma 29. The Knights go down 22-0, but they battled back. Samson Johnson with a couple of second-half touchdowns for Nolensville, but they only had 53 yards on the ground. Ryder Gallardi, 253 yards. He was intercepted twice. One of those touchdown passes to Chance Fitzgerald, 7 catches, 127 yards. Hey, and shout out to Tullahoma. I saw something that said, I think it was 2016, they were 0-10.
Back-to-back 0-10.
They're probably going to be 10-0.
They are. Yeah.
I mean,
they got Maplewood. They're going to be 10-0.
10-0. So you got to give them credit.
Well, and yeah, Coach, you won't meet anybody in coaching that doesn't like Coach Olive. Nice man, class man, and you're right. And I think that's a life lesson for a lot of us, a lot of administrators, a lot of fans. Sometimes we want somebody to pull the trigger on it. I guarantee you they were 0-20. I don't know if 16 was the 0-10 or the 11-20, but you telling me there weren't people, well, we need to fire him, get rid of him. You know what I'm saying? And now here they are going to be 10-0.
Probably the same one's hugging his neck right now.
That's right.
You're doing a great job.
Never doubted you, Coach. But the thing that stood out to me on the nose, I think they're going to get another shot at each other, and I think it will be differently. Tullahoma's really good, but I think part of the 53 yards on the ground, they got behind so quick, and you can't get behind to Tullahoma that quickly. So it'll be a tough task, but I think Nolensville's looking forward to seeing them again. I know Coach Olive was very impressed with Ryder Gallardi. I know that. So he's not looking forward to seeing them again, but hopefully we'll get that chance.
Final game of the week, and it was one that got added. So Page actually had a win and a loss this past week. They get the win over Lincoln County. They couldn't play, and then 36 hours before they played, Page reaches out to Franklin, give Franklin Coach Webb credit and Coach Rathbone for being willing to play that particular game. It ends up being a barn burner. And by the way, Tate, this week's gym. Only the 5th meeting ever between Franklin and Page. It had been 35 years since they played. And according to our man, Mostradamus Patton, it was the Page had only scored 1 touchdown in those previous 4 games. They get 2 on this night, but it's not quite enough as Franklin comes out 17-14. Connor Bevan to our man Taylor Spirito with 1 second left on a 13-yard touchdown pass.
Unbelievable. Nothing like waiting until the end, but they did, and they came back and got the win. And it's really cool to see Bevan and Spirito. They've been friends and teammates for so long. That's very cool. Good for Franklin going into the playoff to get a win there. And Page, Page going in. They're in the playoffs, so I wouldn't be real excited about in 5A getting them in the first round either. But yeah, I think it's very cool of both coaches to go ahead and get that game in, so those guys got a chance to play. And hard to believe, 35 years. That's crazy.
It's a long time.
Yep.
Spirito also, by the way, recovered a fumble, 3rd play of the game. 8 plays later, Connor Bevan on the quarterback keeper. And then it was an A.J. Elliott field goal for Franklin, I think about halfway through the 3rd. So it looked like, hey, this is going to be 10-0, 10-3, maybe 17-0, 17. It wasn't a lot of offense. Ball slippery, people fumbling left and right because they did play Friday night. But then Page gets the touchdown from Jake McNamara to Boy Smith. They get it rolling a little bit. They score again on 4th and 1 with, I think it was 6 minutes left to go up 14-10. Hank White with the carry. And then Page takes over on downs with 1:33 left. So you're thinking, oh man, they've won this game. Franklin gets the ball back. They get on an 8-play drive in about a minute to score that winning touchdown. So I know the Page kids were feeling down about it, but what a great performance by them, really. Because you're talking about Franklin is huge. Their line is really big, and we've heard it all year, how small the line is and how, maybe not small, but young at least, for Page. And they go up against them and have that kind of effort. What a night.
Well, and I saw Coach Rathbone said that in the paper, and he said these guys are used to winning, so they're not into moral victories. But he said exactly that. He was very proud of them. And here's what's going to happen. Franklin's going to the playoffs, 6A playoffs, and they're going to win the first-round game. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? And Page is 5A, so you're exactly right. That was a heck of a performance. And so you always want to get a win, but very proud of their effort. I know Coach Bone was, and I'm happy for him. I love that guy.
No doubt. Centennial at Pope John Paul was actually canceled. Centennial had to cancel that game, so it didn't happen. Ravenwood and Summit both had byes. All right, let's talk this week's game. Let's start off Brentwood, 6-3, 3-1 overall, hosting Centennial, 2-6, 1-3 overall. So here's what. They've got a chance for the region title. If Brentwood wins, which they should, and Ravenwood wins, it's Brentwood 1, Ravenwood 2, Indy 3.
Wow.
If Indy wins and Brentwood wins, it's Indy 1, Brentwood 2,
Brentwood 2.
Ravenwood 3. That's
Wow.
what happens. And if that's not really what happens, I'm going to say it confidently.
So
It's what happens.
Indy's 1 or 3?
1 or 3, Ravenwood's 2 or 3, Brentwood's 1 or 2.
Wow.
That's according to a couple of my sources. Pretty good sources.
Credible sources?
Very credible.
Yeah, I'd say you're probably right. I didn't know where. See,
I'll put it this way. If they're not credible, they maybe shouldn't be coaching in the league.
The county AD is going to have to evaluate some things. Well, where I didn't know it was going to go with Independence is Independence is going to have less losses than Brentwood, but they also have less games. So what is
Wins.
Wins is number 1.
Wins. Well, it's what it's going to come down to.
Wins, gotcha.
And Brentwood's going to have 7 wins.
Indy will have 6
And see-
if they were to lose.
Well, and see what happened with Indy. They didn't get the no contest wins
Wow.
because some of those games were canceled.
Hey, and
they've
this
only got
makes
7 games.
This makes a big difference now.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Fairview. This is the game we talked about earlier. 7-1, 4-0 overall. At Stewart County, 7-1, 4-0 overall. It's for the region championship. They're both on 4-game winning streaks. Fairview's offense, more explosive. Maybe that's the difference in this game. Maybe.
Are you asking?
I'm just making a statement.
This is teetering on the edge of a boat race.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk about it in a minute. Franklin, speaking of boat races and admirals and captains and that kind of stuff.
Oh, how fitting.
Franklin, 4-5, 1-3 overall at Dickson County, 1-8, 0-4 overall. More momentum Franklin gets before that first round of the playoffs. Our WCTV game of the week, and this is the game of the week,
No
in my
brainer.
opinion.
No brainer.
Independence 6-1, 4-0 overall versus Ravenwood 5-4, 3-1 overall. It's the WCTV game of the week. Independence is playing for the region championship. Ravenwood again will finish no better than second with a win. Now, if Brentwood lost, that might change it, but that, no offense to Coach Kreisky, they're not losing.
Yeah. And Ravenwood's had Independence number for a while now, really going back to the state championship runs of both those teams back when Coach Blade and Hester were the coaches. So another one, this would be another one that Independence would love to check off the list of paying back. This is going to be a good game, man. This is a tough one to pick. And talked about quarterbacks. You got to see Granzow Campbell. Now we get to see Granzow Andrews. This is going to be a fun one. I can't wait to. I'm struggling with where you're going on this one. I know where Qualls is going. I'll be interested to see where you're going.
6-game winning streak, by the way.
Would you agree this is a tough one to?
It's a tough one to pick. It's a tough one to pick.
6. That's what I'm saying. That's why I was stunned about the wins.
Ravenwood coming off a bye too. That matters.
Oh, I think so.
Matters in football, man.
Heck yeah.
It matters. Nolensville versus Marshall County. This one's for second. Last year it was for first. But that makes a big difference now. You finish second, you get a home game.
Yeah.
Versus finishing third. So that's a big game at Marshall County. The only loss for Marshall is 42-7 to Tullahoma.
Early, though. Early.
But Marshall's results sort of confuse me. They beat a pretty darn good Springfield team, but then last week they beat Spring Hill 21-14. Let's not act like Spring Hill's really good.
Well, do we know? Was it? Well,
It could have been people out. Could have been.
Yeah.
But you just look at their results and they don't make a lot of sense, which I think is fairly typical in Marshall County.
Coach Osteen's had a good run there, man. They got to really, hey.
I'm just saying they seem to play to the opponent and have some weird results.
Yeah, that could be it. Well, then that means they're going to play well Friday because they got a good opponent. They got a great kicker in John Estes. John Wild approved. I'm not so sure Coach Wild is not John Estes' agent, but he's legit. Guy can kick it from, don't let this thing come down to a 49-yard field goal because John Estes can hit it.
Last 2 games, Page, 4-4, 2-1 overall at Franklin County. 2-7, 1-3 overall. Summit 8-1, 4-0 overall versus Lincoln County 3-5, 1-3. Summit, by the way, and Lincoln missed last week, so let's hope they can play this week. Summit, they've had 3 games they didn't even play. So they've only played, 6 games?
Yeah.
Which may be good or bad, but playoffs, I mean, maybe
you got to be.
Maybe the first round game is one where they can get it going.
Right.
But I'm sure they would love to play this week too to really get it going.
If I shouldn't do this, you can reprimand me. I do not feel good about this game happening.
You don't have to be reprimanded. I would like to see this, and by the way, I'm not saying in any way that Lincoln County's doing this. I would love to see the records of the teams who've said, we can't play.
We can't play, yep.
I bet it's about a 25 or 30% winning percentage. Hadn't always happened. It's happened in our county a little bit with teams that really wanted to play, but it seems to be kind of going that way.
Yep. I hope it does, and if not, can they find a game, not find a game? I don't know. I just saw today where Stewart's Creek had to cancel next week's game. So now they've lost the Smyrna game. So Smyrna's now the region champion. Do they want to run? And that's where I don't think so either.
Let me answer that question for you.
No.
Smyrna doesn't want to play Summit, I promise you.
But I'm with you, man. Like, do you want to go into a basketball tournament? Hadn't played in 3 weeks?
It's tough. It's tough. But their experience should help.
Now, Page, Franklin County, I think that one happens, don't you?
Yeah.
And I'm glad because you'll hear my pick here in a bit.
Speaking of picks, last week the fans were 2-2. You and I were 3-1. I picked Indy, by the way.
You did?
Yes. And you picked Tullahoma. So I missed that. But our man, Dr. Qualls, went 4-0. He got them all right. He and the fans both have 39 wins. You and I both have 42 wins.
He's still 3 behind. He
Still
ain't
3
catching
behind.
up.
No, he's just messing around. Keep voting out there, WCS CO Athletics. And let's talk about, because I know we're getting a little short on time here, Tate. Let's talk about picks. I've got to strategically place where I'm picking. Okay. I'll give you the first pick. Brentwood versus Centennial.
Brentwood.
Brentwood. My pick. Fairview at Stewart County. Fairview, I think it's closer than you think it's going to be, but Fairview wins that game. They're rolling, man.
What'd you qualify? What did you classify blowout? 21?
I think I said more than 20.
Are you willing?
It's blowout.
Yeah, it's blowout.
But it's not going to be 40.
It's a boat race. It's a running clock on their field.
Well, I mean, since
Need you, coach use. Need you.
Well, since you're in that vein, I got a feeling the next one you feel the same way about. Franklin at Dickson County, your pick is? Franklin, is it a same thing?
No, I'm not going running clock because I think they get up early, and then I think Coach
puts the puppies in.
Coach Webb puts the puppy dogs in, and they'll score. They've got a good running back. They'll score 7, maybe 14. So it won't be running clock, but it's Coach Webb's eating popcorn.
Doing a Smyrna scout. All right, Tate, this is your pick.
This is tough.
Independence versus Ravenwood, region title on the line.
Here's what
I know who you're picking.
No. Here's what I'm willing to do. This is how hard this one is. And in the interest of ratings and excitement, I'm willing to say this. Whoever you pick, I'll take the other one. I don't care. Or do you want me to pick?
No, that's why
easy way out.
That's why I set it up this way.
All right.
Who you got?
I'm going to go Ravenwood.
Indy.
Let's go. Separation Friday.
I probably was going to do what you did, but it's at Indy.
It's at Indy. No, I was willing to. I don't feel good about it, but I knew what you were doing. Coach Blade doesn't give a rip. He does not get mad when we don't pick him. Probably because he doesn't watch, but that's okay. I'm going Ravenwood.
He's got some coaches that watch, though.
Yeah.
Nolensville, Marshall County, my pick. I'm going Nolo.
Okay, so I really don't know that I believe this, but this has got to change somewhere. Where's the game? Do we know?
Marshall.
I'm going Marshall County.
Okay, so we got 2 that are different.
Yep.
Now. Okay, which is what we had last week. Page, Franklin County.
Blowout.
Page. Summit, Lincoln County, if they play, blowout.
That game isn't happening.
You heard it here first.
And it's not because of Summit.
Tate, another great week. See if we can separate again. We picked 2 different last week and we split. It's going to come down if we don't split some of these 2s.
Hey, yeah, I know. I'll be interested in what the fans and Qualls do. You know what? We're so worried about Qualls. We've been sleeping on the fans a little bit. But now the fans always pick us. That Ravenwood Independence game, boy, there's going to be some serious movement one way or the other.
No doubt about it. Tate, always good to see you. Go out and watch a game this week, right?
Yes, for sure. Or stay home and watch Independence Ravenwood.
That's true. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on Sports Connection.